Namaste and welcome back to Waking Up with Mindful Serenity. And today we're going to talk about something that I've been asked. I don't actually have a question here from a jar, but someone asked me to explain what a samskara was recently, and I like to take the opportunity to explain that to the best of my ability. I'll begin by taking a deep breath, just to clear away any ego cobwebs that might get in the way of me being able to relay this message. So, what is a samskara, crazy lady? A samskara is a Sanskrit word, and it basically means to make or create or to hold. And samskara is actually something that the mind creates with the experiences that we have through our lifetimes. And technically what it does when it takes an experience that may have had a strong emotional charge to it, as being something very pleasant that we might really, really, really want to repeat again, or something very unpleasant that we really, really, really do not want to face and deal with now, let alone repeat again. It will take that emotionally charged experience, or at least the energy of it, and stuff it way down inside the body and inside the subconscious mind. So samskaras then are tendencies or grooves in the mental patterns of our brain. I think that is how Vivekananda called them, or referred to them as. So we have these mental impressions, mental grooves in our minds, determining how we filter life from therein, how we take life in, how we perceive it, how we respond to it, based on that which we have stuffed and stored inside, that became the impression, that became the mind's groove, or the ripple, as Pantashley might say, the mental modifications. So samskaras then are basically stuffed, stored emotional energy. Now when we look at the word emotion, it is basically, if we took the E in emotion as to symbolize energy, and motion as movement. So emotions is basically just energy in motion. Everything is energy. And if you study yoga or not, you will have to come eventually to that understanding, especially with modern science and quantum physics and mechanics and everything else science is coming up with. Everything is energy. Everything is not necessarily matter, though it appears to be form at times. If I took this cup I have right here and broke it down into its form, of course I'm going to break it down into molecules, and from the molecules I'm going to break it down into atoms, and the atoms can be broken down into those subatomic particles. But those subatomic particles, if we get beyond them, we're going to see something, say for example quarks. And beyond quarks, what do we have? We have vibrating energy, just vibrating ripples. That is not yet matter. That has the potentiality of becoming matter. So when I look at this cup, what I'm seeing seems to be matter because it's solid and firm and hard, but it is 99% space. 99% space. Only 1% of it is actually particle matter. The rest is this vibrating energy that keeps the cup together, that keeps the molecules together so we see and experience the cup for what it is. This is what's happening in all the forms we're seeing and taking in through our senses as sensory input. So the noises we're hearing, the sights we're seeing, the smells and tastes we're experiencing, and that sensation of touch is energy. Energy entering the body to be interpreted by the mind to become what the mind says it is. So what does energy have to do with samskaras, crazy lady? Every experience we have is loaded with a certain nature or a certain energy pattern. So if I have someone coming at me screaming at the top of their lungs, the sound is loud and vibrating and shrill, The body's picking up that sensory input, and the mind is interpreting it as something that is unpleasant and to be avoided as much as possible. If it is intense enough, the mind will say, I cannot deal with this. I'm going to stuff it down away. And it stuffs it down below our conscious awareness level. It becomes a part of the subconscious, gets stored in the body, so the mind does not have to deal with it now and hopefully never again. That is a samskara. But that energy of that person screaming at us is simply just energy. And all energy needs to move. Emotions, remember, all energy needs to stay in motion. It comes in through our senses, yes, but it is meant to flow through the body as soon as it comes in. The screaming comes in, we hear the shrill, we hear the voices, we have the sensation in the body from the tympanic membranes in the ears, and the next thing we know, we have an experience. We experience it, we sense it, we feel it. It becomes a part of us, just temporarily for that moment that has entered the body. And then it is meant to be released. It is meant to be let go of. But what happens too many times with the human experience is the mind judges it as something that it either wants to cling to because it's so pleasant, so desirable. We want to have it inside us. We want to keep experiencing it. So it stuffs it down and it holds on to it. Or it understands it as something that is something to be avoided. It is averse. So we have our aversions, our repulsions, our resistance to this experience. It is bad, wrong, shouldn't be, so I do not want to deal with it. And then again, we stuff that down into the subconscious mind as well. It does not go through. We hold on to it. We cling to it. It becomes a part of our psyche because it becomes one of those impressions or those grooves in our mental schemata, in the way we perceive and see the world. It becomes a part of who we think we are as this me. That is a samskara. That is the building block of your personality. That is the building block of the self-concept you identify as me. Samskaras are simply patterns of energy that we refuse to let go of for one reason or another. And when we stuff them down, we're blocking the natural flow of shakti. Now, shakti energy in yoga is said to be the universal divine energy essence that exists in everything. It is, in some way, we can describe it as God in the Christian understanding or other Judeo-Christian understandings, or we can consider it divine energy, universal energy. But what it is in yoga is Sat Chit Ananda, truth, eternal truth, consciousness, and bliss. Let's listen to those words. Eternal truth, that which is true, that which does not stop, that which does not end, that which is omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent. And Chit, which is this form of higher consciousness in the mind, is consciousness, how we see the world. It's that objective observer that's in everything and everyone. It's why we're here. We get to see and experience this wonderful playground of events that we call life. and Ananda, the true self. Bliss, the joyous, peaceful love self. No anger, hostility in that word, just the ultimate of human emotional experiences. We're back to that word emotion again. Emotion, energy in motion. And that forms the Shakti flow. That is in everything, in us flowing through us, in everything. It is the manifester, the creator of all things. And we have it flowing through us, or we would have it flowing through us. In the form of prana, which is our breath, a form of Shakti, which is the life force, or the vital force that keeps the body alive, and through the dormant force of Kundalini, wrapped around the root chakra, the lower aspect of the spine, waiting to be awoken, so this Chit Ananda, this burst of energy, can flow up that inner nadi known as the Sushumna and be experienced here and beyond, and of course here in the heart chakra. But we can't experience it. And why don't we experience it, crazy lady? Because that flow, like a river, is blocked with debris. What debris is it blocked with? It's blocked with our samskaras, the things we stuffed and stored. And they form a veil or a filter that we call personality or me. And it's through that personality or me that we see and respond to the world. Not only do we block Shakti, but we close our hearts and close our experiences out of fear of what might come in that might be aversive. And we're constantly grasping and clinging and manipulating the outside world so that it is soothing to these samskaras, to these building blocks of personality. So this me feels safe and comfortable and secure. It's clinging and it's pushing away. It's closing and resisting to life. And that's not the way it's meant to be. This heart here is boundless and open, ready to experience everything and everyone as love. But when I have all this debris on top of it, when I have this idea of a me in the way of me experiencing who I truly am, then I don't experience Shakti. I don't experience the full experience of being human, of living on this planet. I'm close and resistant, selective and preferring, desiring, pushing away. And I'm only experiencing a small smidgen of what I could be experiencing because of these blockages, these imprints, these impressions, the stored stuff that we call samskaras. So what do we do, crazy lady? Get rid of your samskaras. Clean out that river so it flows. Clean out your inner mess. You can be spending your life cleaning out here so it feels comfortable in here. You could be grabbing and grasping what you select as preferable, stuffing it inside so it feels comfortable in here. You could be on guard, which most of us are, 90% of the time with our hands up saying, no, you can't come in. Closing our hearts so we don't feel those triggers to the samskaras. But that doesn't help. It really doesn't work that way. This mess inside needs to be cleaned out so that out there doesn't trigger in here, that I don't need, recognize that I don't need, never did anything out there to make me feel happy or peaceful, because that is who I am. That is in the Shakti flow. I am happiness. I am bliss. I am joy. I am peace. But I can't recognize that if I have all these blockages stuffed on top of that flow. flow so that I can't even experience it. So life will come along and try to clean us out by giving us circumstances that will trigger these samskaras and bring them up to the surface so we can have a look at them. The energy underneath, which is circulating, shakti wants to flow. It's emotion, it's energy in motion. So it wants to flow like our energy does. So it's constantly pushing on underneath these blockages, trying to lift them up, and it does lift them up. So we have life lifting them up to our conscious awareness. We have shakti lifting it up to our conscious awareness. And if we would only stop pushing it all back down with suppression and repression, and denial and avoidance and our numbing activities and our busy work and our whatever we can so we do not have to experience this mess inside, then we would let it come out the way it is meant to, and it would leave us, and we would be purified. We would be cleansed. We would be healed. And if that were the case, if there is no samskaras in here blocking this flow, this shakti of pure love, pure peace, pure everything would flow through us, and that is how we would live our life. We would live our life through love, not through shame, not through fear, but through love. These hearts that we close up so tightly would open and be the boundless hearts they're meant to be. And whatever was happening out there would not affect us one iota. We would realize who we are. That we are not the samskaras, which we consider to be the foundation of our personality, the building blocks of our personality. We are not these little human bodies and me's. We are the objective observer inside, watching and experiencing this life through this human, through this mind, through this body. And we would be feeling the rush of holy waters pouring through us, in the form of shakti, in the form of love, in the form of Chit Ananda. We'd be self-realized. We would be God-realized, seeing ourselves as a ray of precious sunlight coming from the source, a part of the source, an ambassador for the source, as powerful as the source, because we are a part of it. And our lives would have a totally different meaning without samskaras. We don't have to have samskaras. We can dismantle those walls of personality we built up by releasing everything that's wanting to come up, experiencing it, maybe for the first time, and letting it go. Why do we cling to that which is painful when we don't have to? The only way out, however, is through. So in order to release our samskaras and be free, we have to go through the experience of them to feel what they were sending our way to feel in the first place. And see yourself as an ambassador of consciousness. Consciousness gets to experience that pain that you stuffed away. It wants to experience it. It needs to experience it. And once experienced, it can be released. It does not have to stay inside this human form or human mind, tainting the life of this human I call me. We can let them go by allowing life to be life and allowing the experience of those things we judged as bad, wrong, shouldn't be, to just be things we get to experience. We get to experience pain. We get to experience grief. We get to experience what we consider unfairness. We get to experience all the qualities of life. We can't do that unless we stay open. And we can't stay open unless we free ourselves of the samskaras that are blocking the flow of shakti or Chit Ananda. We gotta be who we are. We gotta unload the heavy load that's over us, hiding who we are. One samskara brick at a time. We want to be free to experience all that life is here to show us as consciousness, as objective observers, as experiencers on this planet. Well, that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for joining me